progress, we talk about change, we talk about accepting, we talk about power, things like that. But in the dating world, nothing ever changes. Like, we talk about change all of the time. She talks about it a lot in the modeling industry, but I'm going to also say it for the dating world. Like, we talk a lot about change and like we want change, blah, blah, blah. But nobody is ready to actually like bring the change forward. And so it doesn't change. So online, you're saying things like, women have the power and women should pay for drinks, and some women do before
Mm-hmm.
get cancelled before we even start. Some women do, but most women, especially the women that I talk to in my line of work, they expect the man to pay, and they will agree with the fact that women can pay, and they will agree with everything that is said online, just not for them. And it's like,
Yeah, it's when push comes to shove that people just don't want to make that. They want to believe it. They want to be that person who believes and does those kind of things, but they're not actually gonna put in the effort because it's too much.
yeah.
We're just such a lazy world right now. People are just so lazy and they're keyboard warriors like these days. It's just like, oh,
I, uh, I, as I said in a previous episode, I do the coaching thing part time, and I have another job that for now pays the bills. Uh, and because it is hard going at it like on your own, it's get
it
out,
is.
it's hard. Um, and so one of the guys that works for the company, that currently works for the company that I work for,
Mhm.
like there was this rumor that he in his old company created fake Twitter accounts to troll his company so that then he could use the company Twitter to counteract what he was saying. I was oh my god, like just
My
these
God.
interactions. And it's bringing me on to something else where there's this podcast that I love called I actually where did I hear this? Anyway, I can't remember where I heard it, but this celebrity was saying that he was off Twitter and he created Twitter but couldn't get the verified account because somebody else had the verified account and it wasn't even him. And so he was observing this other guy interacting with somebody else, another verified account that was a famous comedian. And he was like, oh my God, what is this fake me saying to this other famous comedian? And they're having beef online, blah, blah, blah. And so then they go, and so then he ends up meeting this comedian online. Well, this comedian, ends up meeting him and he said, oh, I'm sorry about Twitter. It wasn't me. And like, it's just this fake account. I'm trying to get it sorted out. And the guy was like, it's not me. Like, I'm not on Twitter. It's like, so these fake accounts pretending to be somebody else online in lieu of other people. Anyway, we've completely digressed, but
Yeah.
it's very this
It's a,
online.
it's a dangerous place out there. And it's just there's also a lot of bots, there's also a lot of trolls. I see it all the time. I see it now with everything that's going on, and I see it also on my content of trying to spread positivity for singles. It's like people are straight away just hating and trying to bring you down and twisting your words and trying to make you out like a bad guy. And I just don't get it. It's like, why are you that bored? Are you
Yeah,
that spiteful? Are you that jealous? Are you that, what is it? Are you that miserable that you feel the need to go out and just spread hate?
absolutely.
And it's not even, you know what? I understand that people have different, and I'm probably going to be digressing here, but I understand that people have different opinions, and that's okay, no matter what it is. But there's a way to express it. If someone were to come to me and want to start a conversation about being single and how they don't agree with what I'm doing, then that's fine. I love it when people challenge me. Come and show me. I'm always willing to be open minded and even learn and see and hear. But when you come and you're just writing like you're such a clown, why are you encouraging people to be single? It's the worst thing they can do, and you're straight away just being hateful
Yeah,
and straight away just being so mean and trolling. Then what's the point of that? Then that means that you're not trying to create change. You're not trying to make a world a better place. You're not trying to help people. You're not trying to stand against someone who's spreading evil, like as if they're like trying to get me to stop spreading the bad stuff. They just bored and they just miserable and they just want to spread the hate.
And with that in mind, I post obviously the opposite content of just like not encouraging people to be in a relationship, but helping them find ways to be in a relationship. And I get all
Yeah.
of these single warriors going like, oh, but you shouldn't force people to be in a relationship. Like being single is the best thing. It's like, oh my God, then just don't post my content.
You can't win. You can't win.
I'm struggling with my light that has just
Oh, fun.
I'm just so I'm not gonna sort it out now,
That's
but
fine.
it just fell. I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Anyway,
Oh my God.
technology, technology.
Uh,
Um, and I think that's linked to. Ooh, do we agree that people who spread hate are people who are insecure and maybe jealous and just unhappy with their situation
yes. And bored.
and bored?
Too much time on their hands.
Absolutely. And forget about they don't realize that we're real people. Whatever. Forget about that. That links into the stigma of you know if they are unhappy being single or unhappy being in a relationship, but they can't get out of that situation, then they will hate on the people who are happy in that situation. And it's just, I was talking to a friend yesterday of I met her while traveling in Thailand, and so she is now living in Thailand. She's
Mm-hmm.
German and has moved to Thailand, and so we were talking about all of this, and I wasn't feeling too good about myself a while back for various reasons. And she was like, you need to tune into what it is that you want. And she said, I chose the travel life and I've now moved to Thailand. She's living with a guy that she met while traveling, and it's this whole thing, and she's got this whole romantic story that's great. And you're like, but it's just tuning into what you really want. And it turns out that I'm a traditional type of person, that
Yeah.
I want to be in a relationship and live with someone and have a family and buy a house. That's what I want. And it turns out it's the traditional thing. But I struggled so much with admitting that to myself because of all of the stigmas of I don't know about if it's the stigmas, but oh, you're so young, so you're 29, 30, you've still got time, and you've got all of that thing on one side of like you should travel, you should do this, you should do that, you should have fun during your singlehood and blah 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 blah. And on the other side you've got the whole you should be married and you should already have two kids, blah blah blah. And I'm just here in the middle of like, well, I've been living my life. And so I was just talking to her about it yesterday, that just reflecting on that it takes a while to just think about what it is that you want. And I would agree that going via the being single phase and just thinking about it is what makes you realize, actually, my lifelong ambition, like, I don't know if it's a lifelong ambition, I wouldn't say that, but I romanticize the fact that I want to be married and have a family. It's not be all or end all. I'm happy being single, but I'd quite like to have that. And it's going through all of this work that has made me realize, but Jesus, you've got so many, you have to do this or you have to do that. And look at me, what I've done. Well, fine. Yeah. Look at me, what I've done.
Yeah, you just summed it up very well. The of what it is basically one side telling you one thing and trying to convince you, the other side telling you the opposite and trying to convince you, and no one is telling you to do what you want and to tune into what is best for you. That's what happens in society these days. Everyone's pulling you like a kind of like a rope, and we don't all have that one friend who is gonna tell us
No.
like to focus on what you want to do and what's best for you, and which is one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about this and why I do what I do. And at the end of the day, your single period is you make of it. And I believe that if your singlehood is miserable, it's because you're making it miserable. And it's because you're not doing anything about it. And it is the perfect time to discover what you want and find yourself and do some trial and error. Figure out what it is you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, what you want to do with yourself, and the rest will sort of follow. And there was something else I was going to say, and I completely forgot.
It's just tuning into what it is that you want, and if you're doing that whilst you're sharing your life with someone, then it's not as authentic as if you did it while you were on your own.
Yeah, yeah, we spoke more about that last week.
Yeah.
But I also feel like a lot of times we have this FOMO of, which is, uh, I think one of the biggest pandemics or epidemics, I don't know what to call it these days, where people just do things because they are scared of missing out, of not being part of something. And they force themselves to be in situations or do things that they don't want to do or aren't for them just because everyone around them is doing it, or people around them are convincing them to do it, or because they're scared to be left out.
Yeah. I
That's
would No, go, go.
I was going to say that's one of the main reasons why so many people do things these days, why so many people jump into relationships and are so scared of being by themselves.
Yeah, I would agree, and I was like, you said something about expectations and stigma, and like people, you shouldn't be in this situation. And there's this guy on, I don't know which platform, like called the Single Dad or something like that. And so
Yeah,
do you see the guy, like a handsome guy? I think he's American.
yeah. I was following him when I was on TikTok, but now we don't have TikTok anymore. So
Yeah,
wretched platform. Oh my God,
yeah,
that's a story for another day.
sorry
How
for
the
another.
Chinese are controlling the young minds of today.
Oh yeah, and whatever. Um,
Sorry.
and he was saying things along like, okay, yeah, I have a kid because I made decisions, poor decision making when I was younger, and like wasn't, owning my needs and owning, and actions have consequence and things like that. So now I'm 30 and I've got a kid and I love her and it's great, but I choose to stay single. I do not want to get back into a relationship. And he was, and the stigma around choosing to be a single dad because children need to have both parents, and because blah blah blah. It's like, well, children need to be surrounded by people that love them, and that's the only thing that they truly need, and
Mm-hmm.
people who look after them. And so if that's one parent, then that's great. If that's a myriad of people, then that's great as well.
Yeah. And when you force someone into something they're not ready for or that they don't want, there's no doubt in my mind that it will end up exploding in their faces and be a miserable failure. When you are forcing someone to do something they don't want or is not right for them, then they're just going to end up miserable and they're going to end up crashing and burning probably. And so it's important. And I wish people would just shut the F up already, but it's our responsibility to just tune them out. Unfortunately, that people love to talk and people always going to have what to say and feel the need to say it. And so I believe that we should just tune them out, block out all the haters, doubters, and narrow-minded people, and just start listening to ourselves and what we want, and not caring so much about the stigmas and misconceptions and what people are going to say about us, what people are going to think. I mean, how many wonderful opportunities or things have you given up on because you were scared of what people will think or say, like going out alone or traveling alone, or starting a career that's just in something that's just not acceptable in your